Well, you know, like I've always said, people will have something to write no matter what. It has nothing to do with fighting. They just want media to get attention because what was said about the football wasn't even what I spoke about. But in the attention, I've been getting this attention since I was about 15, so I don't, which was a long time ago, probably before you was born. So I never think about it.
Herschel, you're a real student of the game, we know that. It's been about a year since you fought. Analyze for us, how would the Herschel Walker of 1 year ago do against Herschel Walker of today?
Beat him up. You know, I've learned a lot. You know, when I fought a year ago, I was young, naive, and stupid. And I think now going into a training camp where I had time just to study. I didn't go into AKA to fight again. I went to AKA just to train. And being there training with no pressure, I started picking up things that I was missing before. And then I started learning. I think that's where my mind was open a little bit more. So the Herschel Walker this coming Saturday will be a much better MMA fighter. I can guarantee you that.
Well, he's a big name because of his legacy. So I don't know. I just got to go out and prove myself because although I've got a lot more fights, I'm definitely the lesser known guy. So it's a big opportunity, and I put myself through a pretty strenuous training camp, and best shape of my life. I'm gonna come out and give a good fight.
Scott, there was a delay due to the cut. Did that help you or hurt you?
It definitely helped. Yeah, it was a blessing that I got a lot more training in, and you know, got to train with a lot of Strikeforce fighters, and had a lot more experience.
You know, and it was one story he told me, and I don't know if he'd been telling me this, was he sat down and he said, I told me the story about when he was running back at the University of Georgia, and he said that on Saturdays he would run for the school, and on Sundays he'd go to a traditional karate tournament and he'd compete. So in traditional karate tournaments, you walk, you know, would walk back into the dorm with a trophy, and so the coaches would say, hey Herschel, you got to really stop that stuff. You know, that karate stuff's bad for you, and you need to really stop that. You're going to get hurt, you're going to get drafted next year, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You can imagine what the conversation was like. And so finally they gave Herschel an ultimatum. And then he said to the coach, well, if that's the case, then maybe I'll just stop running for playing football. And that's how much he loved martial arts. And I'm sure the coach said, no, that's okay, we'll see you next Sunday, right? So, or next Saturday. But, you know, he's loved martial arts his whole life. And he wanted to test himself, he wanted to compete, and making the commitment, you know, when he moved to San Jose, he's been here for about 10 months in this gym, on and off, about a year. So, you know, he put his life on hold, and you know, when I talk to the guys over there, he's the first one in class, and he's the last one to leave. So he's been a student of the game, he's respected the sport, he's represented it well, so we're very proud to have him. So it's a very unique situation with Herschel, but you know, every individual athlete that comes to us will judge on a case-by-case basis.
You know, I know I am a little weird, I'm a little bit different, but I told the guys on the news conference, I said, you know what's so funny about me? I also got bald in the sense that I said, if any of you guys don't trust me, you can come to the gym and roll with me. I don't mind that, but I don't think too many people are coming. I haven't had any volunteers yet, but that's where I feel. I don't.
Josh is going to volunteer. Josh Gross from ESPN is going to volunteer.
Yeah, I don't do anything halfway. If you look at what I do it full out. Or I'm not going to do it, and I do it to win. That's where I am in business. That's where I am in athletics. If we play marbles, I'm going to play marbles to win, and that's the way I do it. So, like I said, if anyone doubt it, you know, we can. I'll fight on Saturday, and we can fight again on Sunday. That's what I look at it.
Maybe
I watched when Horace Gracie was fighting when there was no weight class.
Yeah.
When he was fighting the big guys, I absolutely loved it. But yeah, I thought it was brutal right there. And then they put the weight classes in, and that's when I was like, wow, this is a legitimate sport. And that's the reason I was in it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, did you think about doing this, say, in like 2000, 2002, I mean, 2005? I mean, what, I guess between with the age and everything, what took you so long, or was there something like, oh my God, I better do this now, or I'm never going to do it?
Well, to be honest, I was building a business. I have a food company. I don't know if you all know that, but you need to write that up. I have a chicken company in San Francisco. It's a large minority-owned chicken company in the United States, and I have over 600 employees. And so y'all need to write, I'm serious, you need to write that down so people can buy chicken from you. But that's what I was doing, I was building a business. And I knew then that this is a serious sport. This is not something you just get in halfway. That's the way I do it. And when I got time where I can put my business aside and put my full time involved. And when I walked into AKA, I walked in not thinking about Herschel Walker. I walked in and told my company, don't call me. If y'all call me, you're fired. I did. I told them, you call me, you're fired. I walked away from my family, my parents. They don't call me because they didn't want me to do it. And this is what I dedicated myself to working, because I knew this is a serious sport. This is not a joke. These guys are serious athletes. And that's what, and if I was going to do it, that's what I had to do.
Could you compare conditioning for this sport and conditioning for football, and what you need? I mean, which sport, or what's harder in each sport, or
oh, this is much harder. This is much harder. You know, my cardio has always been absolutely incredible, and I'm not going to read off what all I do, but I also race bicycles, 300 miles road bikes, and I ride with Lance. I ride with all of them for 300 miles on road bikes. And I tell you, this is much harder than anything I've ever done. I've danced ballet on stage. I thought that was tough. I've done all of that, but this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And you know, and I tell people this, in football, you have 10 other guys. If I make a mistake in football, that quarterback, the receiver, the offensive lineman may cover for me. I make a mistake in that cage, I'm gonna be knocked out, or I'm gonna have my arm hurt. And I found that out when I first walked into the gym. My first day, I think Josh Thompson, I hope he's not here, he armbarred me. My first day in the gym, and I said then, that'll never happen again. I went home and I studied. You know, I knew what he was doing, but I went home and I studied, and that won't happen again. And that hasn't happened since. And so, but like I said, this is a serious sport, and you have to dedicate yourself. And I tell all the guys, if you don't want to do this, this is the wrong sport to get in. I've told all the athletes, all football players, if you're not going to dedicate yourself, this is not the sport to get in. These guys are serious. And that's the only reason I did learn. I live in a hotel, a great hotel at Fairmont, so they give me a cheaper rate. So I live in a hotel, so that's what I do. And I have a beautiful home in Dallas, and I'm in a hotel, a little bit of room, no Showtime.
We have to make that call. Chris, can you write that down, please?